Yo, people, it's Cole from Retro Reverb Records. I'm here with another 10-minute interview. Today, I'm joined by Matt, aka, please introduce yourself.
I'm Matt, aka Bites the Boxer.
Bite the Boxer, excellent. Thank you so much for coming on and making some time to speak to me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cole. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye.
Yes. Bye. See you later. And that was 10 minutes with Carl. So tune in next week, and lots of juicy stuff there. Okay, Matt. Listen. Let's start up with a few questions. So the name Bite the Boxer, quite an interesting name. I have no idea why you're called Bite the Boxer. Do you want to enlighten us? Where did the name come from?
Yeah, and there's kind of two parts to this, really. First of all, when I started making this music about a year or so ago, I didn't know which direction or what direction it was going to go in, or even what genre it's going to be around. So I didn't want anything which could be tied to or sound like any particular genre. So although I got into synthwave quite early on, I intentionally avoided things like, references to neon or nighttime or driving or city life or anything like that.
Or with a number in 82, 83, 85.
I'm waiting for the album to do that with. So the concept of I wanted something which didn't sound like a particular genre, really. And then that gives me the freedom to, I'll do a synthwave album and then a bunch of ambient tracks, and then I might go into full-on industrial 9-inch nails, or it gives me that freedom to do whatever I want later on down the line.
I think that's good. And did you choose Bite the Boxer for any particular reason, or did you just like the way it sounded?
I like the way it sounded, but the actual words itself came about from sort of a set of lyrics I was working on, and eventually those lyrics found their way into the last song on the album, The 86 Sound. And the last song is Under the Air Part 2, and it's got this nice spoken word piece about it warns of the dangers of boxing up feelings. And if you box them up and sort of hide your feelings, one day they're going to come back around and bite you one day.
So, okay. Oh, I was actually, what sprung to mind just before you finished that sentence? I was thinking like bite your tongue, like as in don't say what you feel as well. So maybe two possible meanings that I've just decided one of them is. Okay, it's a very cool name. So yeah, you said you started about a year or 2 years ago. Is this your first musical project, or have you done stuff in the past?
No, I've been in various bands for like last 15 or 20 odd years. Now I am 34, 35 in a few weeks' time. And I've been playing in various bands since I was about 15. But yeah, when I started writing for Bites the Boxer, it was actually intending on writing songs for a sort of indie pop rock band that I'm in and have been in for a while, sort of on and off. And yeah, the songs are just sounding nothing like that sound. So it's like kind of banged them all up, and then I realized that I've got this huge bank of songs which can't be used by this band, so I may as well finish them and put them out there and see what happens.
Nice. And have you had a good response so far?
Yeah, it was a crazy response quite early on, and I found that there's something in the synthwave community which isn't in other genre communities that I've been part of before. Like I've been in punk bands and metal bands and indie pop bands and all this, and not really experienced the kind of weird community that's in synthwave. Like it's really supportive of artists sharing each other's music on Instagram and making Spotify playlists, and there's obviously, as you know, big Facebook groups there.
Loads of Facebook groups. Loads, maybe a few too many.
They were really supportive early on, and I put this music out just if you know, one or two people listen to it, then that's already a bonus. The principle is just that I learn about music production from this, and if anyone wants to join me along the way, then that's cool. But yeah, I keep track of the Spotify plays and the YouTube streams, and some of them have had like thousands of streams, and it's nuts, but really cool.
Talking about like engagement and, you know, your response, don't quote me on this, I do believe you're currently third in our Synthwave chart, and there is today and tomorrow to vote. So people out there, if you like, Bite the Boxer, go and vote for him, and obviously Matt, yourself, use this video or go and get people to vote, because still a chance for you to sneak up that podium, I believe. Okay, right. I was scrolling through your Bandcamp page. One thing I noticed is that all the releases, they're all singles, aren't they, so far? Is that right?
I've done one album,
Okay.
The 86 Sound, which I think is on Bandcamp. So yeah, I've got one album which I did quite early on, and then yeah, a bunch of singles.
What I noticed was that the artwork is quite uniform. So there's a consistency that's going through the page with your artwork. Would you say that that is the same for your sound, or is it quite varied? And how would you describe your sound?
Those the singles that have that uniform artwork, they're kind of I intentionally made them uniform because the singles with that artwork is quite that the sound is quite uniform. It's the sort of chill wave, ambient, almost cyberpunk sort of chill stuff sound in those singles. Whereas the first album, the 86 Sound, was a very sort of synthwavy, very much synthwave pop kind of sound to it. So that had the artwork for that had, you know, the grid lines and all the usual sort of cool synthwave stuff, which we know and love.
Okay.
But I think I alluded to it earlier when I was talking about the name. It's kind of hard for me to talk about sound because I keep changing. I did synthwave, then I've released a song called Battleship, which borders on like EBM. I'm not particularly up on my electronic music genre names.
It's really hard. It's really hard to put things into genres. Don't kill yourself trying to. Right. So look, you've got something coming up. Is it next week?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to tell us the name? Talk to us about that, and maybe describe that sound, seeing as you've just recently done it.
This new one is called Human Atmosphere.
Okay.
And it was one I started working on a while back. And the instruments themselves have a very classic synthwave sound to it. So going back to that synthwave sound, but it's got a lot of fun samples on, which was taken from a radio broadcast documentary drama thing, a very old radio drama thing. So it's out in the public domain, so it's free for anyone to use, thankfully.
Copyright, don't worry, no copyright strike. Right?
So yeah, it was a lot of fun to do, because I had this song which it sounded good, and I was thinking, it just needs something else. Maybe, I don't know if it was vocals or just needs something else, and I started playing around with these samples and just worked really well, I thought. And I thought it's a lot of fun to listen to as well.
Okay. Well, we'll be doing a review of that, so guys, watch out for that. That'll be coming up on the YouTube channel as well, this interview. What's the release date, just for people out there?
That is a week today, so is that the
7th?
7th of May, yeah, Friday 7th of May.
Friday 7th of May, right, okay, Friday 7th of May. Excellent. Okay, right, great. Thank you so much for that. We're going to move on to the quick fire round. Okay, are you ready? I'm sure this is going to become a thing, a famous thing. I hope it does at some point. Right, okay, let's go. Right. What, and I mean by what, I mean platform, not like headphones or whatever. What do you tend to listen to your music on?
Spotify.
Spotify. Spotify. It is useful though. I will give it that.
It is very much love-hate relationship with Spotify.
Yes, the guy from Spotify, Daniel Ek, is apparently trying to buy my football team. I'm an Arsenal fan. Yeah, I know. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't know if he's actually got enough money. Apparently, they operate at a loss anyway. So, okay, right. You're about the same age. You said you're coming up to 35.
Yeah.
Do you have from your childhood or from your teenage years or from the 80s maybe specifically, do you have a sort of favorite female influence?
Well,
I'm going to ask you the same for male. So if you prefer to start with male, and then while you're talking about male, go think about female, that's fine. Or vice versa.
Male, I've always been a big David Bowie fan.
So sad when he died.
Yeah, very, very sad. And I love the way that he kept reinventing himself, and that's sort of what I'm trying to do. I'd like to be that guy where people say, "Oh, there's a new By the Boxer EP single or album coming out. What is it going to sound like?"
Yeah, I mean, it just shows talent, doesn't it? I mean, I remember for a while I used to think that David Bowie couldn't sing, and he can't really. But he can, if you see what I mean. Like I wouldn't say he's technically a great singer, but now when I listen to him, I absolutely love his voice. When I was younger, when I first started listening to him, I used to think, oh, he sounds a bit like a dead cat, but I've completely changed my mind. He's awesome. He's absolutely awesome. So female?
Female from the 80s. There's a lot of. And
I'm a big Annie Lennox fan.
Yeah, love Annie Lennox. It is a hot topic, this female imbalance thing. And they like talking about it. And synthwave is one of those genres which obviously alludes to the 80s a lot, but the 80s was full of amazing female vocalists, like
absolutely, yeah,
like Annie Lennox and Whitney Houston and Janet Jackson, Gloria Estefan, Kate Bush. Love Kate Bush.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Anyway, okay, so all of those are great influences, and you're right. I do think there is a bit of an imbalance in the synthwave scene. It's something I've mentioned a few times. I was on Night Ride FM with Karen, who I was saying Karen for the whole interview. Sorry, Karen. And we were speaking about that and how difficult it is to find female artists who want to release on the label. We're still looking. Right. Okay. Here we go. Right. This is an 80s general knowledge question.
Okay.
Have you seen the film The Golden Child? Eddie Murphy.
Probably not since the 80s.
Eddie Murphy. I haven't seen it for a long time, but he looks after this little monk, kind of Buddhist kid, and then he's got all these trials that he's got to do at the end, like walk across like poles with water in his hand and not spill a drop and stuff like that.
I know of the film, but I hate to say it, but a lot of the Eddie Murphy films just seem really samey to me. He just has that one character and he absolutely nails it. And I know he's an icon, but
okay, we'll skip that one. Right. Okay. How do you relax?
I am awful at relaxing. I'm just rubbish at like switching off. I always have to be constantly doing something.
How do you try to relax, even if it doesn't work?
I try and get out for a walk every day. Got a dog. So
is it a boxer dog?
It's not a boxer.
Oh, what a letdown.
It's a little. She's called Edith, little black fluffy ball of fluff. But yeah, try and getting out and going for a walk is a big help to help me decompress. I like that too. Get out.
All right. Okay. Good. Right. What 80s computer is the highest selling single computer model of all time? So games console.
Computer or games console. It would be the SNES.
It wasn't. Unlucky. It was the Commodore 64. I actually had one. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
The crazy thing about those was that we used to come home from school and load the cassettes in and start loading, and then go off and have tea while it was loading, and then come back after tea and play the games.
Yeah, yeah, that was great. I used to have a ZX Spectrum as well. I used to do the same thing, you know, like, and if it crashed, you'd be like, oh, yeah. I've got to spend 15 minutes waiting for it to load again.
Did you ever copy the games?
Sorry?
Did you ever copy the games?
Yeah, yeah, I know you were. Yeah, you had to put a pencil inside and break the thing. Mm-hmm. Okay. Who was the Prime Minister of the UK through the 80s? I think it's quite easy.
Thatcher.
Yes. I was going to say, I think it's quite easy, but it's only easy if you actually know the answer, of course. Yeah. All right. Okay, some favorites. Favorite 80s film?
David Bowie's Labyrinth.
Oh, what a film. What a film. My wife hates it. I just look at her like, what are you talking about? It's brilliant.
Or maybe Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I've got, before I took all my posters down in this room, I had a Killer Clowns poster up.
Cool, cool, cool. Right. Favorite, it sounds silly, but favorite 80s food is in like a food that was recognizable from the 80s. I would think of like junk food or sweets or something like that, probably springs to mind.
I mean, I've got a tub of Dolly mixtures on the go here. Does that count as 80s? It's a little bit.
I'm not sure. We'll take it. We'll go with it.
Give me a bottle of Blue Nun then.
Okay, I can see you've still got a full head of hair. Excellent. Have you ever had a mullet?
No. I've had long hair, and I've had the awkward transitional mid phase.
Yeah,
the awful phase. A mullet.
I've just thought of this question off the top of my head. Would you grow a mullet for a Synthwave charity album push?
Yes.
That would be amazing. You know what we should do? We should organise a Synthwave charity album, get loads of artists on and say, right, you've got to go for a mullet. You can't release on the album unless you've got a picture of you with a mullet as the album.
Yeah, I really don't have a problem with making an absolute idiot of myself. I think it probably comes with being a father and being a dad, doesn't it? You got to take the piss out of yourself and do these things. So yeah, mullet.
And you know what? The mullet is inclusive because, right, even if you've gone bald, right, everyone who goes bald has still at least got that bit at the back and the sides, so you can still grow a really awful mullet. Okay. Tell me something you love.
Something I love? Live music. I really miss live music and gigs and festivals.
Yeah, really missing that. Everyone's missing that, I think. Something you hate?
Tinned tuna.
Tinned tuna. Okay.
I like fish and I like, a good tuna steak, but tuna out of a tin, like when it opens up and you can smell it, it's horrible. Just makes me.
Is it specifically the taste or the smell or the texture? Is it a bit metallic maybe?
Yeah, I haven't managed to bring myself to eat it for a long time. But my wife loves it, so occasionally I have to put up with the smell of it. But
I actually quite like tinned tuna as well, to be fair.
I know a lot of
these things are all subjective. What can you do? What can you do? All right, listen, you've been involved in the scene. Last question. You've been involved in the scene for nearly 2 years, as you said. Do you have any advice for anyone out there thinking about joining us, coming to make music, coming to be a fan and wanting to be involved?
Do it, and don't be afraid to reach out to people and say hi and ask for advice. I'm a big believer of if you don't ask, you don't get. And that's, for a while I've been looking at the Retro Reverb guys and yourself as, the kind of gatekeepers of Synthwave, and I was like, what, I'll just email them and ask for a review, and it's like, yeah, it's so cool. But yeah, generally the Synthwave community on the whole is just super friendly. I'm on the Night Ride FM Discord chats, and there's lots of Discord chat rooms and IRCs, and really good community.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. Just for everyone out there, by the way, we definitely are not gatekeepers. we're trying to get everyone involved as much as possible.
Perhaps gatekeepers was the wrong word.
No, don't worry. I know what you mean. People helping to promote the scene, to get people heard who have made maybe a slight name for themselves within the scene. I understand what you mean. Anyway, listen, thank you very much for your time. That's the end of the round. Would you like to do any shouts out, any thanks to anybody, mention anyone?
I'd like to say congratulations to Alex Facchetti on his EP. I heard one of his songs the other day on the Night Ride FM show.
Seduction,
and it reminded me of Black Queen, the vocals, and I think it's Alex's vocals in the chorus where he goes up and really goes for it. What a great song.
I will let him. I'll absolutely let him know. I mean, Alex is a good mate of mine here in Italy, and speak to him every week. So I'll make sure I pass it on. Thank you very much.
And also, I'd like to shout out to another synthwave chap friend of mine called goes by the name of De Larson.
Sorry, who?
De Larson.
De Larson, right? I'm not aware of De Larson yet.
No. He's based in Tenerife, I believe, and I keep telling him to get more involved with the community, because he makes some really good synthwave pop music and really good stuff.
Does he sing?
He does.
Tell him to submit to us. I'll have a listen. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and he's a really big supporter of my music as well. So
excellent.
Good chap.
Okay, De Larson.
Thank you.
I want to hear your music. All right, listen. Thank you very, very much for your time. Let's end it there.
Incredible but true. Incredible but true. So rapid has been the advance of 20th century science in the diagnosis and cure of disease that one pictures men of medicine as seizing avidly on any discovery which contributes even slightly to their understanding the human body. And in general, such a picture is accurate.
Wait a moment! What in the devil's name is that?
The human atmosphere.
Dr. Kilner's remarkable experiment.
Alex, I want you to disrobe. I want to see your whole body behind that screen.
Dr. Kilner's remarkable experiment.
I'm not crazy, am I, Alex? You see it too, don't you? Sort of an atmosphere all around his body. Exactly. The human atmosphere. But why is it so different up there around his chest? The radiation. They're a different color and a different texture altogether. By George, so they are. By George, so they are. Good Lord. Take a look at the man who's there now.
The human atmosphere.
Dr. Kilner's remarkable experiment.
Alex, I want you to disrobe. I want to see your whole body behind that screen.
Dr. Kilner's remarkable experiment.
Dr. Kilner made hundreds of difficult and invariably accurate diagnoses with the aid of his viewing screen. And yet, the record of Dr. Kilner's work lies ignored, forgotten by contemporary science.
I'm not crazy, am I, Alex?
The human atmosphere.
Dr. Kilner's
remarkable experiments.
Alex, I want you to disrobe. I want to see your whole body behind that screen.
Incredible but true.